What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Sizzle Speaks, and I'm here live with another episode of Coffee Talks, where we talk about leadership, lifestyle, love, and leveling up. So, welcome to my channel. If you're here today, you're going to get some great insight, a lot of information, all about marketing, social media marketing specifically. And I'll be joined today by the lovely Ashley Watkins, and I am super excited. I'm someone who literally needs all the help in the world when it comes to marketing. And I find that one of those things that I never really got into was understanding marketing until recently, right? And so when we don't understand something, we tend not to really pay attention to it. So hopefully this live today will teach you some insights on marketing to help you build your brands and your business a more efficient and smart way and really maximize on social media, right? Because everything is social media. So get ready for today's episode. Excited to have you here. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube business, and let's get right into it. Hi.
Hi.
You look great.
How are you?
Good. You can hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
I love that the branding is already happening with the shoe in the back.
Yes, thank
love
you, girl.
That.
Wait, you see it?
I love that. I love that. Awesome. Let me get a little banner on. So I'm excited to have you. Thank you for being guest on episode number 3. And then I go back to December when I did my first Coffee Talks live, and you were one of my panelists. Super amazing, so much value, so much energy, very smart. You've been through so much in life and you have a lot to share. So I'm excited to have you here today. And pretty much I like to run this organic conversation, and then I ask, questions. We can kind of go back and forth, but definitely wanted to kick off with you telling the audience a little bit about yourself, kind of your story and how you got into marketing.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be a guest on your podcast. So got to get that out the way first. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I think that, I like to say that I've always been an entrepreneur because jobs just in me is just not, they don't give what they supposed to give. So I've always worked. I have a degree, but my degree's in criminal justice, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's so unrelated. But I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I really thought that having a degree in criminal justice was gonna fulfill the service aspect of me, wanting to help people and give back to the community. And just being raised in the hood, I was like, I'm just gonna be a part of the solution. And I just started noticing that the pathway to a successful career, through any corporate avenue, really was so limited, as far as how much money I could make, my own personal experiences that I was going through as a Black person. It just made me feel okay, I have to do my own thing. And I just felt like entrepreneurship was for me. But in the process of me trying to get ready for law enforcement, I lost a ton of weight. Okay. And that's how I started my fitness business, which was my first business that really took off on social media. So I was just sharing me trying to get physically in shape, honestly, and having never really went through any vigorous physical training or nutrition, and having to be able to do push-ups and stuff. I just would share with people, and people started following and wanting advice, and I started seeing okay, there's a community building around people just having a common goal and trusting me because I'm being transparent and I'm sharing with them my struggles. And I would say that's the start of the marketing, even though I didn't know I was marketing. That's how it started.
Okay. I love that. And it's one thing that three things people really care about nowadays is relationships, health, and wealth. And so starting off with getting yourself healthy, even though criminal justice was the direction you were going in, health came first, because, if you went that direction fully and you weren't healthy, who knows how long it would have lasted depending on where you were going. So, I commend you for even taking that journey, because I'm pretty sure that helped a lot of, people along the way. And when did you transition into understanding or knowing that your audience was more so women, or that you wanted to cater to women entrepreneurs?
Um, I think I didn't know, but people were going to me as the go-to Instagram person. Like they saw me coming out with so much content, and I would always in my personal training business run an online challenge. I will always drop something digital.
Right.
So I didn't realize that I needed to help women entrepreneurs per se, but I was very good at keeping people accountable.
Uh-huh.
So when people were coming to me, I said, okay, I can be an accountability coach. That was my
Mm-hmm.
first like coaching, right? And then I started seeing, okay, people don't really need as much accountability in other parts of their life, but when it comes to business and when it comes to entrepreneurship, women weren't able to hold themselves as accountable to the marketing, the tasks, it was like, wow, okay, the thing that all these women have in common, even if they're trying to get in shape, is that
Mm-hmm.
they really want to be entrepreneurs, but there's nobody that they know that they can go to support them, hold them accountable, and teach them the ropes of how to actually make money online. So
Right.
that started a few years ago, but I officially started business coaching at the start of COVID. Like
Okay.
right when COVID started is when I was officially charging like clients for coaching services.
Gotcha. And do you merge the two of them together right now with the marketing? Because marketing is one aspect, and then the accountability and the business strategy and the coaching on business is another aspect. So are both of those under the marketing pros, or give us kind of like the structure of marketing pros for those watching, so they kind of understand, exactly what you guys do for the brands. Women entrepreneurs is your focus, your target audience. But yeah, give us a little bit, kind of like the wheelhouse, if you will.
Yeah, that's like a really good question. That's like a long answer to that. Basically we offer everything.
Okay.
We offer coaching, consulting, and marketing all together in the form of coaching, which means you get weekly one-on-one services of meeting with me and us actually brainstorming and getting a lot of it out into an organized plan. Then you also get marketing agency services. So I have a team that will do your graphics, write your captions. Once we have the strategy in place, they actually do the deliverables and they actually do the quote unquote labor of the work. And the reason I say it's a long question is because it has evolved into this
Mm-hmm.
over time, because at first I was helping people with every aspect of their business, from writing a business plan to sales to pricing to marketing. And then it was overwhelming for both them and me, because I was dealing with the new entrepreneur that had so much foundational pieces that they needed to develop before they could even focus on marketing.
Right.
So when people would come in, I would just take it all in. I would be like, okay, this person needs mentorship, they need organization, they need accountability, they need so much. And then I started to specialize. So now we do add those components, like if your pricing is off, you're going to get consulted on that because we may not be able to market it at the pricing that it's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if your mindset is off, that's going to come into play when you have to do live videos, right? So we have to incorporate all of it, but we really want to get you to the point where you're attracting clients online. So we do everything that it takes to get you there. Weekly sessions, planning things out, and we also give you your time back by letting the team do the design aspect so that you can focus on the brain work a little bit more.
Absolutely. I love that,
Mhm.
because it's a one-stop shop. It also helps, you and your team expand in your skill sets, because now you're strengthening different muscles when it comes to the overall arching, overall business, and all the aspects that fall underneath, being an entrepreneur and running your business, and marketing being such a like important aspect of any business. And Brendan Boyd, you may be familiar with Brendan. I know he was at Coffee Talks with me, but he's like my go-to person when it's anything that has to do with marketing. Like, we literally were on a call this morning. He's like, okay, so we got these reels that you're putting up. Who are you speaking to? What's really happening? Because for us sitting on the other side, that, we're not totally familiar with marketing and social media marketing. We're just sitting here as entrepreneurs doing what we think is working. And at the end of the day, we realize, well, if there's no intention, or if the intention gets missed, then that means your marketing is off, because you're not landing to the people that you need to be landing. You're not speaking to those people. So the fact that you can like bring someone in, understand their business, what they really want to do with that business, what their mindset is right now, where they need help in that avenue, and then get graphics together, which is a whole other aspect. For me, it takes forever for me to do something on Canva, where I've just decided now I'm going to outsource, because the exchange of time that I have to give to Canva or InShot and all these other, tools to market what I'm doing, I'm just like, by the end of it, it's 3 hours in, and I just completed a flyer. Like, this is insane,
Right.
So there's a lot of value in what you guys offer with the marketing pros that I didn't even realize. I was thinking like strictly marketing. That was the focus. It's graphics, it's setting up, what's your branding, what do you want it to look like, and going from there. So that's dope to hear. So in
Yes.
terms of social media marketing right now, I guess we should define social media marketing for anyone who's watching, because I'm pretty sure someone who's watching has no idea what that even means. So go ahead and define that for us.
Yeah, good, good. I'm happy that you asked, because I think people say marketing and they don't even know what it means. And then
Mm-hmm.
maybe they invest in marketing and then they realize they don't have any sales skills, and they're like, wait, marketing and sales isn't the same thing. So the type of marketing that I like to say we specialize in is attraction marketing, which means that you're putting out enough informational content and brand awareness content that's going to attract your ideal client to you, which is
Okay.
different than, let's say, guerrilla marketing, right? Which would be like you DMing people, you going out handing out your business card, like you would be going towards your audience. Whereas social media, what you need to do when you're not paying for ads is create the content that makes people actually like you and engage with you, click on your links, sign up to your programs and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to social media marketing, I like to call it content marketing,
Mm-hmm.
because what you post is going to in turn convert those people into actual customers and supposedly attract them in the door. Now, after you attract them with your marketing or your campaigns or your advertisement, sales is the second step. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times people think like, oh, my followers aren't converting, and maybe you're attracting them and maybe they're even going to your website, but the sales process falls apart at some point. It could be on a call, it could be on your landing pages, it could be another reason. But marketing is the actual attraction of those leads. Doesn't mean that they're customers,
Gotcha.
just means that you drew their interest onto your business, basically.
Gotcha. So it's like that first step in, what is it that you're doing that's going to draw your client avatar to you?
Right,
Like, do you
exactly.
even know your client avatar? Because that's another piece of marketing too, that client avatar is thrown around a lot with social media. And I don't think everyone understands what a client avatar is versus like your target audience or your target market, because based on my understanding, there are completely two different things. Your
Right,
your client avatar, you should know detailed information in terms of he or she, them or they. Nowadays, I gotta be careful with that.
right.
The age, what do they do on a daily basis, all of those details, like really specific. And then your target market could be a little bit more generalized, like women ages 25 to 44, athletic, or whatever the case may be. So people understanding that that's important matters too.
Right, that's different.
So what do you find are the most, let's say, like top three challenges that people face, or your clients face when they come to you? Like, what are they looking to really understand about social media marketing, or what are they challenged by the most?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'd say the first thing is that they know that they have the information, like to package into a course or an ebook or something, but they don't know what to talk about to
Mm,
attract someone that will pay the price that they want them to pay, right? So usually typical people they're attracting people, Maybe they're getting leads, but they're saying that the price is too much. They're getting a lot of pricing objections, or they're getting a lot of
Okay.
non-ideal clients, like people that they don't want to work with, right? So, like how you described the avatar. So,
Mm-hmm.
usually when people describe their avatar, they're always focused on pain points. So, all they're attracting is people that have those problems. But
Mm-hmm.
people usually neglect to think about who they want to work with, right? And who is most likely to get results from their programs, because there's a ton of people that have that problem. It doesn't mean that they're ideal to work with you and get results.
Right.
So sometimes you have to pinpoint a little bit more who you really want to work with and not be afraid of the people that you can help, because you can help a lot of people, but some people you attract, maybe they want to pay in payments, they want to pay late, they're hard to get change, and you feeling like you got to pull teeth just to get results from them. It's
Mm-hmm.
because you're attracting a non-ideal client. So they're not facing the challenge of no clients. They're
Mm-hmm.
attracting people, but maybe they want to raise their prices. Maybe they're, not getting the right type of customer. So we got to dig a little bit deeper to figure out who do you really want to work with, and let you dream a little bit and go out and create the content to get that person and believe you can get them. Um, the second thing I'll say is that the challenge that people face is that they look at the competition a lot, and they
Mm-hmm.
consume a lot of like earn your leisure type of stuff, or like, business podcasts. So it's like a junk drawer in their mind. By the time
Yes.
they come to me, they don't know what to apply, what not to apply. They have so much information that they're in just information overload, and they've either
Mm-hmm.
stopped creating content, or they're just putting out anything. They're not even really brainstorming, because they feel so behind because they have so much knowledge that they're like, let me just vomit all of this stuff out
Yes.
into something. And they come to me, and I hear these type of clients say like, well, such and such said this, shouldn't I be doing this? Well, and I'll ask them like, well, why are you not selling? Well, because I took this course and it said don't sell too much, and I took this, and they just have so much information that they don't have a clear strategy. They're just
Right.
applying everything that they learned. And those type of clients usually burn out before they make any money, because they're trying to apply every single thing, and it's giving burnout,
Yes.
and information overload at the end of the day. And the last thing I'll say, that, and this is like something I'm just now discovering in
Mm-hmm.
clients, is that they don't want to be competitive.
Mm.
So they sleep on the fact that their ideal client is shopping with other businesses. So everybody's trying to be all kumbaya and, just keep your eyes on your own plate. But when I go make them do competitor research, they freeze up, because they don't want to be intimidated by the competition. They usually have so many insecurities that it makes them not go out and look at other people that are winning in their
Right.
industry. And I have to tell them, these people are setting the benchmarks, they're setting the standards, and you're neglecting to go look because you don't want to copy, or you don't want to seem like you're being competitive. You think of competition in a negative way, but your ideal customer that's looking to hire somebody right now, these are whose websites they're on.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know what's going on out here in these streets. You cannot just be like, oh, there's enough money for everybody. Yeah, that's true. But a smart business owner always knows what their competitors are doing. Even if that person is light years ahead of you, that's
Mm-hmm.
the benchmark.
Right.
That's where your standard needs to be set at. So those are just like some common things that I see a lot of, not just my clients, but even leads that call that want help. These
Mm-hmm.
are the blocks that they're experiencing for the most
For
part.
sure. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. And those were three really good points and really relatable too, because I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure someone watching or if you're watching a live stream or if you're coming back and you're just joining us and we're talking about marketing today with Ashley Watkins, you know, one, I want to hit on, information overload is a big thing. A lot of people spend way too much time fake researching. And I mean, fake researching meaning they're just watching these things and ingesting all this information, but not understanding the why behind what they're gathering,
Yeah.
or the why behind the information that they're gathering. And they spend too much time scrolling social media feeds where then you lose your brand authenticity. Like you lose yourself. You end up becoming the next trend, or you end
Right.
up thinking that, okay, if I sell lashes and I'm scrolling my page and there's four other lash businesses that come up and I'm looking at what they're doing, now what about my lash business? Because I'm trying to do exactly what this person is doing and take what I call the easy way out. And
Mm,
don't get me wrong, I believe some trends hit, some trends are good to follow. There are some really, extremely talented and successful entrepreneurs out here that you can like pick their brain socially and figure out strategies that they're using that actually work and mimic those strategies to work smarter, not harder. But you have to make sure the core and the essence of the message really speaks to who you are as a person. And
right.
that's something that I have to be mindful of all the time because I'm my own person. I have my own personality. I'm very, strong in that. Um, but I do like trendy things
Hmm.
because then I don't have to think as much for certain posts. But
Right.
it's really about managing not to look like someone else. Because I did a quote on my page not too long ago, and it was from, I believe it was Ronnie Brown who said it on Sleep is for Suckers podcast, and it was basically like the more you try to not intimidate, imitate someone else, it reminds everybody of that person. So it's like in
Right.
my brand as a leadership coach, as much as I look up to John C. Maxwell and my leadership strategies and what I do, a lot of what I learned in the process, I go back and look at his work and I like get affirmations from it. I make sure that I still keep it Stizzle Speaks
Right.
leadership and not John C. Maxwell or Simon Sinek's leadership. That's extremely important. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And then the
Hmm.
other part was frick, your third point that completely just say, oh, when it comes to competition and being
Hmm.
competitive, re- this is so major for me because I go right to thinking about SWOT analysis,
Yes.
right? And if you've ever worked in a position of leadership in a business or for a company, SWOT analysis is so important. So it's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So
Yep.
if you are a business owner right now and you have not gone through a SWOT to understand what your strengths are in your business and team, if you have a team, what your weaknesses are, what your threats are, and what your opportunities are, you are already behind in the game
Right.
because you won't know what you are really good at and to work through and excel even more in, and what you need to do differently and work towards changing. And then what are the things that you really can't help? Like your threats are something that you really just cannot avoid. For example, if you're a brick and mortar store, retailer, and there's scaffolding on the business next to you, that's a threat, but you can't change that, right? It's going
Right.
to be up for however long they're in construction. You just have to understand how you work around that and how you pivot and how you forecast the business during that time, because you may have less, walk-in traffic. So you may have to go hard with your marketing online. So understanding all these things as a business owner is completely important. And those are like the basics when it comes to business before you can even get to understanding how do you market to beat out your competition. And if
Right.
you're in business, you have to be competitive.
Yeah.
It's
You.
like not optional. You have to be
Exactly.
competitive, and there's healthy competition. But a key word that you use is insecurities,
Hmm.
right? And insecurities and our fears tend to get in the way sometimes of us being super successful. And an
True.
insecurity is just for me a fear that you haven't looked, dead on and said, okay, what is it that I lack in terms of knowledge or resources that are not allowing me to really understand this thing so that I can feel confident doing it or speaking it? For
Exactly.
sure. I
Yeah.
love that. That was like a whole moment for me.
Yeah, we have people, we usually try for each client to do SWOT analysis on 3 or 4 companies and on the client's company, so that you also can see that other businesses have weaknesses too. Like even companies you might think are bigger than yours. Like for example, one of my clients, we realized that in her industry she has no competition on social media, because in that particular industry most people are using referral or word of mouth to get clients. It's like a real estate interior design type of industry. So
Mm-hmm.
if she creates almost any content on social media, she's going to stand out just because people aren't really there marketing. So you'll be surprised. It's not always that you're behind per se when you go look at the competition. And I really like to show my clients the not the S and the W. I really like to show them the opportunities that they
Mm-hmm.
have, because that's what they're failing to realize is like, wow, I'm looking at everybody else, but I have a huge opportunity of my own that
Right.
I may be able to leverage to really like show my position in the industry. And I think you just sometimes you just think like, oh shoot, this is too good to be true. Like ain't nobody out here
Mm-hmm.
doing this. And
Right.
I like I'm looking at everybody else and I didn't even know that it's like the fear of success starts to come up then. Cause you
Mm-hmm.
look around and you like, it ain't as bad as I thought it was, and I might
Yeah.
actually win. You
Yep.
know, that makes it a little bit scary. It's like, oh, I gotta take this seriously now.
Yes, now it's go time.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
I
Hmm.
love that. One of the other things I wanted to talk about, because I noticed on your website, and this warmed my heart because someone who is really into business, building teams, teamwork, collaboration, any company out here running without core values, I find to be very ironic that they're still in business to begin with, or that they're in business and the business is running successfully and with a great team and work ethic, culture, all of those things. And so when I noticed that you do have core values for your company, I was like, yes, amen, sister, for even, having that implemented and having it on your website. So a client can literally log in and say, okay, here are the core values. These are the things that I can expect baseline from the marketing pros, period. And that's really important. So talk to me about, or talk to us, I should say, community, a little bit about the core values of the marketing pro and what those mean to you and your clients.
Yeah, this is interesting because like I don't think I was really thinking about core values, and I think I started adding them as I worked with people, and like I
Mm-hmm.
started to determine like what was important to me and what wasn't important to me.
Right.
So it was like a little nerve wracking, like building like these, because it's like, oh wow, this is my business. I get to say like what's important and what like morally should be upheld. And I think the first thing that started it, honestly, for the marketing pros was that when I decided to have an agency and I decided to hire women that were not in America, is that I noticed, like, I went through this little agency and I saw that the women in other countries weren't getting paid good because Americans will be like, well, you in a third world country. So if I give you $5, then you should be happy, right?
Right.
And I would just listen to them and I'll be like, dang, they not appreciated. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
paid fair. Like I started noticing different little things and I was like, you know what, I'm building this into my business. Like we're not paying anybody under this amount, or even like with my client relationships. Like if we get behind on a project and I would get nervous, I'll be like, you know what, why get nervous? Why don't you just tell them and just have honesty and transparency just be like a part of your company, and no matter what, like over communicate with your clients and have that built into just how you do things. And when I tell you it changed the whole business, because I have clients that they would say to me like, oh, you know what, we may not be getting the result that we thought, but you were honest with us up front and you let us know, what to expect, and you've always over deliver on things. So I'm like, okay, I can keep adding on to these core values.
Yes.
What else do I believe?
Right.
That we should put out here. So it just works into everything, even our pricing. Like I know that we're not the cheapest out there, but it also ties into me being able to really support the women on my team in the way that I say that I'm going to support them. Because one thing I noticed, I'm like, dang, a lot of these women empowerment people, the boss stops when it comes to them paying for work, or
Yes.
the empowerment stops when it comes to their team, right? And then I started saying to myself, okay, that's not how I want to be. I had to journal this out. I had to write this out. I had to think about what is important, what's important. Okay, giving back. So that means that, hey, if an opportunity comes up for me to speak to some kids, that
Mm-hmm.
takes priority, right?
Right.
Because if I say that our company is about giving back to the youth, I got to really show up for that. I can't just say it. I got to really put it into the core values of the company. So that way, even if I hire somebody, if you don't align with this is not the company for you.
Right.
just so we're all clear and on the same page. And it just protects everybody. And it just comes from me living, really trying to do my business according to God's will. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, I want to live a purpose driven life. I want, what's my purpose? What's my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
This is how you put your purpose into what you're doing, by saying, hey, this is the values and the core beliefs that I want to build this business on. And we riding on this. We're not riding on the sales or anything. Like, this
Right.
is the fuel of the business, is our beliefs. And as long as we're in alignment with this, then we're good.
Right.
Literally.
Exactly. Absolutely. And even for, clients and customers, for them to, like I said, see the core values on your website, it's in their face. They understand from your perspective as a CEO, this is what you can expect, not only from me in the business, but from my team as well, is critical. And it also helps to, alleviate the stress of dealing with people who don't fit your core values, clients
True.
and customers who don't fit, into having clear communication, trust, honesty, and integrity. Because you, like, not all money is good money. Like, sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have to be okay saying no, and
Right.
not taking on clients or customers that don't fit our overall mission, core values, because it's a domino effect, right? Whether
Mhm.
you're helping them in silo now, you never know what a testimonial could look like. You never know what a person front facing with another potential customer client could look like. So it's important to make sure, there's visibility in terms of what's important to you. And I love that you did that and extended it to your team as well, because they're, an extension of your brand and your business.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So I want to switch gears just a little bit and go
Mhm.
back to the social media aspects when it comes to marketing. So we know social media marketing, we covered, is pretty much how are you marketing your brand and your business on your online channels. And so, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have YouTube, we have Instagram. What are you finding are sort of the top social media? Oh, and LinkedIn, not to mention
Right.
LinkedIn. And I was like, when did LinkedIn become something that's like social media and used for marketing? Like, I thought it was like a resume builder site, like
Right.
where you
Right.
you find a job. And now it's like, no, LinkedIn is so many other things. And I'm like, okay, I can't even manage, my Instagram and halfway TikTok, never mind trying to get on LinkedIn and figure it out. So between those five, I think it was five that I named, what are like the top sites that you find are that work the best? And do you think, depending on what the person is doing, the client is doing, one social media platform should be used more than the other, if that makes sense?
Hmm. Hmm. See, I love Instagram, so I'm gonna always go to my champ, Instagram. And the reason that I love Instagram is because you can't lie to Instagram. Instagram is real people. As much as you can blame it on the algorithm, that's my dog. The algorithm is built through coding to completely thoroughly understand what real human psychology is attracted to. So no matter what, now there's so many people out there that are going to say, depending on your business, this is better, that's better. And I agree. If you have that homemade brand, you need to be focusing on Etsy. Like, I do understand that there are lanes for everybody, but Instagram's going to always be the champ for me, because if you're a people type of brand and you really care about people and you put that into your content, and if you care about people, you will put this into your content.
Mm-hmm.
You will be able to organically attract people, no strategy. And this is probably taking money out of my own pocket. But if you have a real purpose in a mission driven business and you're a person, you're going to be able to attract people just by getting up there talking about what you're passionate about
Mm-hmm.
eventually. Like even a broke clock is right 2 times a day. So
Right.
you're going to
Exactly.
attract some people. But what I will say is there are people that thrive on other platforms. For example, strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a product and you just start to build a YouTube platform, you just start.
Mm-hmm.
The lifetime value of having that content on YouTube is just smart. It's not that YouTube is better than Instagram. It's just that that's a smart strategy. That content's never going anywhere. You could get sponsorship eventually. You can monetize your channel. So, to better answer your question, I like to ask entrepreneurs, what are your business goals? Because if
Mm-hmm.
you set your business goals, you can align them up with what platform works. For some clients, I have them completely go into Facebook groups. Like
Mm,
that's your job in Facebook groups, scouting out clients. You might have content that's going up. You might be doing reels and stuff, but as a strategy, if your clients are in those groups, you need to be in those groups answering questions, helping people, DMing people, and sparking up some conversations. Like it's more about the strategy than the tool. And I think that's what people fail to realize. They're not actually putting like
mm,
a numerical value on like, hey,
right.
in order to pay my bills, I need 6 clients, which means I probably need 60 calls, which probably means I need 200 posts, which probably means I need to be on live right now. I gotta go.
I gotta
Like,
go, right?
like you're not thinking of it like that, but you should.
Yes,
You should be. If no matter which, like whatever avenue you choose, if it's LinkedIn, you better be the best article writer, connection builder that you can be, and rock with it on whatever whatever tool you use. I think you should just have a strategy. That's the thing.
for sure. And I love
Mhm.
that you made that point because it really does boil back down to strategy in everything. Like if you don't have a strategy, you have no idea how you're gonna get from point A to point Z. What's the in
Right.
between look like? Even going to the grocery store, you have to have a strategy when you walk into the grocery store because if you don't, you're gonna pick up all kind of things that you had no plan and no business going in there for. Or Target, that's an even better example. Like how many times have we
Absolutely.
gone to Target without a strategy? Sometimes even with one, and then we end up doing a bunch of other things that we shouldn't be doing. So I like that idea of strategy first, and business goals first. Create your strategy, and then utilize whichever social media platform is going to be the best for your business based on the goal and the strategy. It makes sense, right? It just
Right.
makes sense. So with Facebook, because I want to talk about Facebook groups a little more because that's something where for me I have now a Facebook page for Sizzle Speaks for the women's empowerment events, but I don't really understand Facebook groups in and out. So if I'm someone and I'm starting out new and I understand my business strategy is to get in there and open up a Facebook group so that I can obtain more emails per se, right? Um, what should I look for in terms of a strategy if I want to grow like grow my email list, for example? Like what's my strategy? Is it DMing in the Facebook group? Like how do I get people into the group to begin with? I know it's like
That's
a
a good
loaded
question.
question.
Yeah, I have a couple clients actually utilizing this as a strategy. So essentially, the group is like the carrot that you're dangling, right?
Okay.
People should want to get in the group. And it's not that you're going to advertise that the group is your free group, right? It's your exclusive group, meaning that it's secret or exclusive content that's going in that group that you're not going to be sharing anywhere else. So there has to first be an incentive to be in your group, right?
Mm,
And then by you incentivizing your group, when people join, they should have to enter their email address to answer the questions to get into your group. That's the play that everybody does. Like you got to answer the question that you're going to play by the group rules, and you're going to give me your email address to get the golden ticket to get in here. And
okay.
if the group is valuable enough, people will usually enter your group. Now, outside of that, there's usually some other warming up of your audience that you have to do to get them to the group. Like, for instance, if you're going to do a live show or maybe an exclusive coffee talks, you're going to host it live in the group, and the people have to be a member of the
Mm,
group to see that. You see what I'm saying?
mm.
So
Did
that's
y'all just pick up what she just put down? I don't know. We might have to bring that one back.
yeah, see, that's
We
the
might have to
type
bring that
of
one back.
yeah, that's the type of thing that you want to do so that people say, hey, or maybe exclusive episodes that only air to the group. So that people, that's the thing that people miss. Like they create the group, but then
Yes.
like there's no reason to really be in the group because if I see your content on social media, you're not
Mm,
putting
mm.
anything in the group per se. You just want me in your group. And then in my mind as a customer, you're just putting me here to eventually sell to me, right?
Right.
So you took my email address to later harass me. Is what the current customer is like, okay, I've seen this before.
Yes.
It's not new. So the where people fall short in the groups is that they see groups that are already established. Some of the groups that are already established that have thousands of members, the groups are sort of taking care of themselves because after so many people are in them, people are putting valuable content. They're sharing stuff. They're putting questions and this hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
answers under one post. So the community is feeding itself, but they forget that in the beginning of that group, there was some value that got people into that group to start
Right.
with. And if you can afford to do this, the best thing to do is to put a community manager over the group.
Mm-hmm.
Just outsource it. Give it to your VA. Have them create content just for the group and have them accept people into the group and copy and paste their email into a segment on your email list. So that way that becomes its own community and you know that it's nurtured and you don't have to feel bad about
Mm-hmm.
starting the group that now you don't have time to take care of the people that opted into that community.
Absolutely. Love that. And there were a few good gems in there. So if you missed it, you need to rewind this portion of the video if you're not
Right.
watching the live stream, or if you are watching the live stream, go back and catch it again because that was super, super important. And I caught that. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking my notes in my head, trying not to
Yeah.
lose my thought because that's really good. And you're right. I was in a group on Facebook for Rob Dial because he does a lot of mindset videos and he has a podcast. And I noticed that almost everyone in the group then started to post their own things, give their own value, where he almost like extracted himself. He may have jumped in there here and there, but he didn't really have to manage or run too much of it. And people still felt like they were getting value from it. So
Yep.
that's critical. That's key. And also making sure that you continue to add value in the beginning so people don't feel like you just dupe them to get their email address and send them a bunch of spam because then you'll lose and people will unsubscribe. And that
Right.
also, it damages your integrity as a brand too. If you're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm going to give you all this value, give me your email address, and then all of a sudden the value stops. So I love
Exactly.
that. So
And
great
it's
way,
not always
Facebook groups.
intentional. Sometimes you're starting, it's not like you're trying to dupe people.
Right.
You're just overcommitting and not being realistic in the beginning on what it would take to manage that community because it is a community.
Yes. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. So like you mentioned, grab a VA, invest in a VA. I mean, there's some VAs you can find out here for like what $17, $7 an hour. Like there's all
Right.
different ranges depending on the work that you give them. But in the end of it, it's worth being able to have that time to dedicate to other areas of your business. Just do it. Create
Yeah.
a budget for it and just do it. Like get rid of your Netflix subscription, get rid
Right.
of, maybe your car can take, regular gas instead of premium, certain things that's got to give right now,
Sacrifice. Sacrifice.
or sacrifice. You might get one car wash a month or every quarter. Like, I don't know, whatever you got to do.
Right.
So love that. And now in terms of, I want to talk a little bit about analytics when it comes to marketing, for the last few, we got some time, but in terms of analytics, because a lot of times I find too, people don't understand how to read and analyze, analyze their numbers to understand where they need to go harder, where they can pull back, what's working, what's not working, and even test in the market to see, who essentially is really your client, who's grabbing the content, who's not grabbing the content. So what are some of the analytics? And we can talk about Instagram since I know that's your wheelhouse in the social media platform you like. What are some of the analytics on Instagram that you look at or tell your clients like these are the important ones to focus on? And what are some that you have seen or a story that you've seen where someone paid attention to analytics and then saw their business take off in marketing?
That's a really good question. I'm happy you asked that because when people come to me, usually to sign up, they're not happy with the analytics with the social media company that they're with, right? So they're coming to me to like complain and be like, we need a new social media company. And what I usually tell them is to stop looking at the analytics because usually the goals that they have aren't in alignment and sometimes the analytics don't matter. So perfect example. And this is a perfect example of entrepreneurs having their eyes on the wrong measurements. So, like one client I had, right? I'm pretty sure she wanted to see her engagement increase so that she could know that her content was resonating with a big portion of her audience.
Okay.
Well, when I started asking her about were people actually booking calls, they were booking calls. That's a measurement that I'm paying attention to right then and there because there are people that will not like a post but will click the link straight in your bio. So people were booking calls. She had a little quiz as a lead magnet in her bio. And she's like, yeah, 11 people took the quiz. I'm like, wait, sis, you ain't tell me that.
Right.
Those are hot leads. right? So they're taking this quiz. They're being added to a segment at her email list. And I said, well, did you send an email out to the 11 people that took the quiz? Because they opted in to something. She's like, no. So that's a perfect example of you ignored them after they added themselves to a list and clicked on a link where you're trying to get more people to like your reel. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's just that when that goes back to information overload, because when people come to me, they're like, I want more reach because somehow, somewhere they've seen something that told them that their engagement should do this and should do that, and that they're doing reels and they should have this type of performance. My concern is, do people think you're an expert enough to book a call on your calendar?
Right.
That's the measurement that I want to see. If you've been putting content out for 6 months and nobody else has come off of social media to your website, to a lead, to something, I'm looking right at that juncture where that is missing a link. And for some people, it is that the website isn't hitting. I have a client that she has an apparel company and she just had all white people on her
Mm.
content. And I'm like, 225 hits to your website, nobody bought nothing. Is because it's you, thick, curvy black girl, and your content and your website is stock images. So
Mm.
that's the measurement that I'm looking at. And I'm like, sis, you need a photo shoot, right? Now, if you're looking at the wrong thing, you could have blamed that on us. You could have been like, I'm not making any money. And when people come to me, I clarify the objectives that they have. I'm like, hold on, sis, hold on. Because you might say, you're the marketing person. I want to see more dollars in my bank account. When I'm like, hold on. Wait, let's get more clicks to the link in your bio and see if that's happening. If we market for you in a month and nobody actually opts into your lead magnet, then it's on us. Because that
Right.
means we didn't attract them. I don't care about the likes or the engagement or anything. Are you getting leads? Because that's our point, is to get people clicking on that link. So you need to look at your website analytics, not the Instagram analytics. Here's why. If you do a really good reel today, Stizzo, and it's funny as hell,
Mm-hmm.
what are the numbers going to be on that? They're going to be great. Does that mean that your ebook is going to sell out? No,
Right.
it doesn't. That's the unfortunate part. And people think they can monetize that popularity of someone liking or engaging with a post and tie it into their business goals. And that's not how it works.
Right. Right.
Not how it
Yeah, because I
works.
had a dog go 224,000 views, and I'm like, all right. So I did that post without a call to action. So now we just have 224,000 people looking at this dog and just, okay, on to the next scroll. It really didn't mean anything. And I had this
Right.
conversation with Brendan today, and I said, you know what? I could literally repost that dog and it will go viral again because it's just a really funny reel, but it has to make sense.
Right.
It doesn't
Because you know
matter
what's
that
ironic?
224,000 people watched it. Those people didn't click.
They don't care.
They
Listen,
don't care.
what's most ironic, and this is a sales psychology thing, the number one thing that you can charge a lot for, the problem that you solve that you can really get paid top dollar for, the person is too ashamed of that insecurity to like it.
Mm-hmm.
They're too, and it's something that they have deep down inside that they will not run to your comments and say. Think about it. If I'm a personal trainer, if you're the obese person that really needs to lose weight, you're not like, hey, that's me, but maybe
Right.
you book that call. So you don't want to always look at engagement, because you may be, the pain points may be something that's an insecurity for someone that they would never publicly engage with. Some of my clients, I'd be like, wait, you found me on Instagram. I never saw you on a post,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like, oh, I just been lurking for a while,
Right.
waiting to reach out. So doesn't really mean anything. The analytics don't mean anything. And I've had people tell me after booking a consultation with me, oh my God, I need to apologize to my VA. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
you're hard on them thinking they're doing something wrong when you could be just focused on the whole entire wrong thing and don't even
Right.
understand how to actually convert people.
Right. Right. And I feel like it's analytics for what they are matter, but it's about the analytics that social media give you may not matter for your business depending on what you're doing. So to your point, if your clicks in your bio, your lead page turnover, if that's what matters to your business and you get 11 people to opt in and then you don't follow through on those leads, that's analytics that you missed out on. So analytics do matter, just like with any business. When you run a business, you look at numbers, you know, you look at conversion, all that stuff matters to help build the business, but it has to be the right analytics that you're looking at. So to your point, and the message I think that people need to understand hearing this is analytics are important depending on what your business is and what you're looking to, where you're looking to grow and what it is that you're looking at in those analytics. So it may not be the amount of views on a post that is a funny post that just went viral, but has no lead to your business or no lead to your clicking your, you click the link in your bio. Like it has to make sense to make the dollars and not
Right.
make sense just to be popular.
Exactly.
Really critical. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And so excuse me, for those watching that don't really understand leads or understand segments, I wanted to go into that a little bit because I just recently switched over from MailChimp to Flowdesk. And like, this is not a paid sponsorship by any means yet, right? But I love so far Flowdesk because I'm someone who's visually in tune. Like I'm a visual learner. And I feel like their platform is easier to digest for myself because I'm not very tech savvy. And so I'm just learning about segments and workflow and being able to automate emails where if you click a certain link, it'll put you in a segment. So let's talk about, like, let's break that down a little bit. So what are leads? What are the different levels of leads? And then we can go a little bit into segments and workflow.
Yeah. So the way I define leads is someone that is interested in purchasing from you, working with you, even getting maybe your freebie, right? So maybe they're not even necessarily buying something from you, but they are interested in what you have to offer or what your offer is. Now, I like to teach an awareness funnel when it comes to content because I think there are cold leads that people maybe may not even count them as a lead because they're not
Right.
ready to buy anything. So are they a lead to me? Yes, they are. They're just a cold lead. So maybe they need a little bit more educational content. Maybe they're not even ready to click the link in your bio or get on your email list. So there's a little bit of a funnel that happens in your content for someone to become a lead, like warm enough to even become a lead, actual, like they've opted into something. And then within that, now they're on the list. And then there's a certain level of engagement that they have in that list too, right? So usually what I see in the segments is like you have like your unsubscribers, of course, which you always want none. Everybody wants nobody to unsubscribe. And for me,
my feelings be hurt.
Yeah, you're like, okay, what did I say? I want nobody to unsubscribe because I want to treat your email like gold. So I don't want to over email you. I don't want you to feel like I harassed you. So I'm sending just enough for you to not unsubscribe. So I like to keep that number to 0. But then you have your top openers, right? You have people that have purchased from you. You have people that in some cases, especially if you have products that have abandoned carts, right? That you can target them. And this even plays into Facebook remarketing and retargeting to people that have left things in cart and like maybe having them see some of your ads after they maybe didn't buy, but they looked at stuff. So you can retarget them. Now there's 2 schools of thought, right? Some people retarget people that didn't open, right? Like, I'm gonna keep harassing you to make sure you don't want this.
Right.
And then some people retarget and send emails out to people that are their top openers, right? Because you're like, hey, you always open my emails. So more than likely you're going to be the person that's going to open it. What I like to do is not really look at the segments, just drip a campaign to people. So a first email just might tease like the problem. You know, another email a few days later might just like solve a problem for people or to keep people engaged so that the emails themselves are useful. And then after a few emails, I will make my offer, close my offer, and see who opts in. And then people that I've had calls with, I go a little bit deeper with my follow-up with them because I don't want them to feel like they got an automated email. I want them to get a specific email that is based on our conversation that we already had. So those I don't put into a segment. I just will put on my calendar Go
to follow
follow up
up.
with those 5 people that you talked to. So
Right.
that's kind of how I look at the emails. But I think overall, if you're nurturing your email list with valuable, and I like to say useful content and tips, and you do it to where people want to open your emails, then that's a start.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a good way to start. Just to everybody, like, hey, when you see my emails, I want you to be like, dang, I want to see what she's talking about. I don't want you to be like, here go another email.
Right.
you know?
Right. Yep. I totally feel that. And when I first started out with emails, I would always get in my head about, I don't want them to feel like I'm reaching out too much. But what I
Mm-hmm.
learned, or what I think personally, and this, everyone could feel differently, is that there's no such thing when it comes to promoting your business. Like oftentimes we do ourselves a disservice by not over promoting our business. You just have
True.
to do it in a way that's smart, right? Because
Right.
think about it. Shein, for example, when you talked about retargeting on Facebook in like abandoned cart, like how many damn times do you get an email from Shein when you done press the button and looked at a shirt or looked at an outfit and they're like, oh, gotcha. you
And it
know,
works.
it
Yeah, sometimes
works.
I start buying stuff. I'll be like, okay, y'all right. I should come back.
It works. Fashion Nova is another one. So there's certain brands that their marketing teams, man, are spot on in terms of their strategy and how they get you in. But those are the instances like we were talking about earlier where it's okay to adapt to someone else's strategy in your business because it works. And
Right. It
that
works.
if you want to copy anything, copy a strategy like that because it's
I always
guaranteed
say
going to get you
copy the
follow up.
blueprint. Don't copy exactly what they're doing. Just copy the
Right.
framework.
The framework is there. Copy that if you find that it works. So true. Because
Mm-hmm.
listen, every time I have to click out because they try to get me, and I'm like, you're not gonna get me today, but it works. But the point is, let's start promoting our businesses. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you're watching this live right now, we're talking about marketing, specifically social media marketing, making sure that you're promoting your business in a way that's impactful, it's adding value, there's strategy behind the end result and what you're trying to gain, and you have your business goals in order and your objectives in order to ensure that you can reach your targets. Because without business objectives, business goals, you won't know what your targets are. You won't know if you reach them or if you're still striving to reach them. So important key. So we got a few minutes left. I mean, this was loaded with information. Like I'm literally like, okay, I'm going to watch this episode back myself because there's a couple of things that I need to literally write down because I'm old school. I remember things in 5 seconds later. It's like, what did you say? But I learned so much in the past 50 minutes, like incredible. And as I said earlier, marketing is something that I consistently work on. So this is going to be super valuable for anyone who's in the business and looking to up their social media marketing and just up their marketing in general. And as we learned earlier, the marketing pros have a full functioning house so that you can get your business in order from the roof. Well, actually, let's go down. Foundation to the roof. Okay.
Right.
So that's your mindset, your business goals, your strategies, and your marketing. So that's it's full circle. So I love that. So in closing, I want you to tell us what's the most challenging thing about running the marketing pros for you, or what was your biggest lesson learned? Um, what's a big goal that you have for 2022, if you don't mind sharing, because some people are
Mm-hmm.
specific about sharing their goals, and then we'll let everyone know where they can find you. And then I do have my
Okay.
coffee talks question for the very end.
Okay. So I would say the biggest challenge to me was figuring out how to price things and how to add value, right? Like what to
Mm,
add. I feel like I changed that a million times, and in my head I just kept wondering, like, is this enough? Is this going to help them? Is this going to change them? And sometimes it gets messed up because you get non-ideal clients, right? So if it's not working for them, then you're like, well, should I add more? Should I do more? Should I lower the price? Should I raise the price? Should I change this? So I feel like we finally got the perfect program and the perfect offer together, and that was the hardest. I mean, my team is always like, yes, because they saw the behind the scenes of me changing the website again
yeah.
and change the contract again with every client. So that was my biggest challenge. I'm happy I overcame it. And I'm still like working on that and shaping to make sure I'm giving the right value for the right price, and able to really show up and be like one of the best social media agencies, not just doing it because anybody can
Mm-hmm.
just do it. Um, My biggest goal for 2022 is to collaborate. I kind of shared this with you a little bit off
Yes.
air. And it's because I've been living in LA for 9 years and I'm so used to being an entrepreneur that I started taking on that like hyper independence, like almost like not trusting anybody and just putting my head down and working and just literally having like me and my team serving people. And like I have kids, so other areas of my life, I'm not going to say that I was being selfish or always by myself, but now I'm being intentional about building relationships and collaborating and having business relationships and actually being intentional, meaning like I'm going to things that I wouldn't normally go to. I'm staying in contact instead of being like, oops, I didn't see your message, actually responding, or instead of being like, sorry for the delay, actually staying on top of communication and building. I just think that is all about, like you said in the beginning, the relationships. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I neglected that because I just put my head down and worked.
Right.
And sometimes that can be like detrimental because you're just trying to be independent and you're like, I can just count on myself. And then you look up and you're like, wait a minute, I'm on an island and I don't really have relationships with a lot of people. And I will like compartmentalize and be like, you cool, but I'm gonna keep you over there. And,
Yes.
or I'll be like, you nice, but you my client. So let's just get you these results. So now I'm just being open to it and just especially women, like not just networking just willy-nilly, just intentional about women. If I can support your business, if I can come to your event, if I can shout you out, if I can come on your podcast saying yes, right? Because I was very strong in my no, but now it's like, okay, well, what do you say yes to? And
Mm-hmm.
how do you align that with your core beliefs, your visions, your purpose for your life? Who do you want to be around?
Right.
So that's my goals for 2022. And you can always find me on Instagram, child. That's where I be on Instagram. I spam the feed. I empty the clip. If I have something going on, I'm gonna promote it on Instagram at Miss Marketing Pro. I have a masterclass right now that's 50. Wait, I took $100 off, so it's $59. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you miss stuff like this because I just set it in my live or I'll just post it real quick.
Right.
And it's like, hey, so I'm always on Instagram. That's where if I meet you in person, I'm gonna be like, see you on Instagram.
Yes. I
For
love
real.
that. So what's the class? Give us the rundown on the class.
Yes. Okay. So the
Because
master
I was like
class.
$59.
Yes. So the
Because this
master
live
class.
right here was worth a couple thousand.
Yeah. Okay, girl. Because listen, I came up with this master class when I was working with people heavy one on one, and I was like, how can I put like this into a microwave version of like what people went through over 6 months, 7 months? I'm like, how can I put this into 5 days? And it was my mind trying to figure out how, if maybe you went through all the curriculum super fast, then you can take the next however much time to implement it if you needed it. But
Mm.
just get the information. Don't worry about executing. Just get it in 5 days and then go work. Right. So I taught it live. It's the playback, but it's clarifying your message, niching down, getting all that stuff clear, your mission, your vision, your tagline, who you're talking to, your branding, your captions. I even go into emails and what you should be using, what you should be considering, and how to convert that audience. And it's really cool because some people that went through that class, they're clients now because they were able to use
Mm-hmm.
that class to get like some of the foundational stuff together. That's why it's so valuable because imagine if they would have skipped that and then just paid for one-on-one. We would have been
Right.
working together on that when they were able to do it themselves with the master class in 5 days and then come to me when they were like, okay, uncle, I need an
I
agency to
love
help
that.
me.
Yes.
So that's what the master class is. I built this to not specifically focus on Instagram, to just teach you about digital marketing, period, so that you
Nice.
understand the fundamentals of what it takes to convert an audience. Because, like you said, I don't think people really know about marketing. So, this is really good for if you have a service, if you eventually want to monetize your audience and sell them something and you want to warm them up, you need to have these key components in place first. And then after that, it's going to be a lot easier for you.
Love that. And
Mhm.
y'all heard it here first. $59. I'm going to immediately after this live go grab the link and put it below in the description so
Yeah.
that you can sign up for the masterclass. Get the playback, $59, you all. Listen, marketing, we said in the beginning, is extremely necessary to build your business and your brand. Build your brand for your business. However you want to look at it, it's extremely necessary.
Essential.
So it's essential. So take advantage while it's available, because who knows, it might be 99 tomorrow.
Oh, it's
so
going up on April 1st. I forgot to
See?
say that.
There you go. I put it out there. I was like, I know it's gonna go up.
I forgot to say that part. It goes
I
back
know
up
it.
April 1st.
And then, so I always do a coffee talks question, and that is, what does Ashley like to do on her coffee break?
Ooh, on my coffee break, I am so good for a good audiobook. Like, I will listen to an audiobook in like a day. Like, I'll get through it. If it's good, oh, I'm gonna just find something to do, walk or something so I could just let it go in. I don't want to multitask. I want to do it while I'm on a break.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And I really want to say I'm extremely grateful. And I mean, I learned that I need to be out of my Gemini ways a little bit.
Mhm.
And I say that when it comes to relationships and you reaching out, because we're so busy, quote unquote, in our lives, that when something comes up, we're like, oh yes, that. And then we reach out and we need something, blah, blah. So that's what I'm working on intentionally now. Before I turn 40, I have to do better in terms of making sure I reach out, because I talk about networking all the time, and networking is purely relationship building. And I want to say I'm super grateful now to have had you 2 times and being of service to me and my community and dropping the gems and giving the wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much. Whatever you need from me with your clients, leadership course, quick Zoom, whatever, you always have my support.
I'm holding you to that now.
Hold me to it. And I'm not one where I'm a giver's gain. And I really strongly and truly and truly believe that. I don't give to, reciprocate on the other end. I do it because I genuinely care. And, like you said, being intentional about the collaborations and the partnerships is important. So I know if the collaboration and the partnership is with intention, I will do whatever I need to do to make it happen. So hold me to it.
I'm grateful for that. And I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to blow you up. Don't worry.
Yes, please do. Take advantage. Hold me accountable. Let's make it happen. But I'm super thankful to have you here today. A lot of gems drops, a lot of things that I learned. The audience, I hope you all learned a lot. And again, if you're just tuning in, we are on the end of Coffee Talks episode 3 with Ashley Watkins, talking about mastering your marketing. So go right ahead, rewind this video, watch it over, and I'll see you next week, Thursday at 4 o'clock on Coffee Talks Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.